Meanwhile, angry constituents once again taking over town halls across the country.
I'm going to let
anyone over the age of 74 has to go before what is effectively a death penalty.
Well, now we're learning those protests are anything but spontaneous. Viewers like you sending us clips from their local newspapers, which were recruiting protesters for training on how to effectively address your congressman at a town hall meeting. These ads, like this one right here, printed by progressive groups in Republican districts to turn out people who are contrary to their legislators' points of view. Here to weigh in is radio show host Larry Elder out in L.A. Larry, this is reminiscent of, 6 years ago with the Tea Party.
Well, it is, and it doesn't surprise me, Steve, that there are organized protests, some of whom apparently are even being paid. What does fascinate me, though, is the abject hatred they have against a man who's not a fiscal conservative, he's not a social conservative. Donald Trump is a populist, and many of his positions are right smack dab in the center. Take Obamacare. He wants to repeal it, but he also wants to replace it, quote, with something better. He wants to retain the so-called good features of Obamacare, including making sure that an insurance company cannot cut you off if you have a pre-existing illness. Even on issues like gay marriage, he has said that the issue is settled. He's the first incoming president to ever have this kind of progressive view on marriage. Even Obama opposed traditional marriage. So on issue after issue after issue, Donald Trump is right smack dab in the center. He practically completed sentences with Bernie Sanders on free trade.
Sure.
For crying out loud. What's to hate about this guy if you're on the left?
Well, you know how it works, Larry. There are a lot of people who go to protests and somebody hands them a sign that they printed up in the basement a couple of days earlier by some paid organization, and they hold up the sign nonetheless, and they have no idea what they're protesting.
You know, even on things like vouchers, inner city parents want the opportunity to take their kid out of an underperforming government school nearby and give their kid a shot at a better education. So even on issues like that, even on issues like abortion, when you look at how black Democrats feel, they're far more pro-life, anti-abortion than their non-black Democratic counterparts. So on issue after issue after issue, when you calm down and take the emotion out of it, Donald Trump is a populist, right smack dab in the center. What's to hate?
Sure. I like the reason, the point that you make when you calm down at that Jason Chaffetz town hall out in Utah last week, where, you know, he was asked a number of questions and he would get 4 words out and then they would interrupt him.
Right.
I mean, they're obviously just there for the optics of shouting down a sitting congressman, and a very powerful one at that. But in the meantime, they just look intolerant.
They sure do. And again, they look inconsistent. You've got Ivanka Trump in Cleveland touting 6 weeks paid maternity leave. What Republican ever had that kind of position? My goodness. On many issues, Donald Trump is right where the left is. And I'm just shocked that they aren't giving him at least some slack.
No kidding. All right. Larry Elder, who's going to be the first one at work this morning because he's up at 5:28 Pacific time. Larry, thank you very much. We'll be listening on your radio show later today.